Hello and welcome to Edwards Motorhomes. Today we're going to take you on a walk-around handover on an Auto Trail V-Line. The model we'll be using for this demonstration is the 2018 model 540 SE, but it should be relevant to all 2017 and 2018 model V-Lines or Tribute van conversions.
When purchasing your Auto Trail motorhome, you'll be presented with a key. To operate the key, you press the button in and it releases the key, and you can open the front doors by pressing the top button, like so. The middle button will lock the doors, and the bottom button will open your habitation door and your rear doors. Now we looked at the key, let's have a look at underneath the bonnet. To open up the bonnet, first of all we need to open the passenger door. And the bonnet release catch is there on the side of the dashboard. Give it a pull and the bonnet opens up. Let's take a closer look. The first thing you'll notice that the vehicle battery isn't under here. But don't worry, if you need to jump start your vehicle, you can from this point here, which is where you put your negative, and a point down there where you can put your positive lead. The battery's underneath the floors in the cab area there. So to top up your fluids, you've got your brake fluid here, you've got your antifreeze, your power steering, and your washer reservoir there. To get to these two, you do need to take this little panel off there to make them accessible. The dipstick is just behind this bar here, and you fill up your oil with the top there.
Now we've finished under the bonnet, let's take a look at the rest of the motorhome. Just behind the passenger door is where we refuel the motorhome. You will need your ignition key to unlock the filler cap. Fiat don't use AdBlue in their Euro 6 engines, so no additives are needed. Above the habitation door there is an awning light and awning, and below is an electric step. We will go into more detail on these later. Behind the habitation door is the fresh water infill. Using the smaller key supplied with your motorhome, unlock the cap. You will need to push the cap inwards and twist it to fully remove. The Auto Trail V-Line or Tribute range has a freshwater tank capacity of 70 litres. They have an overflow attached, so you can't flood your motorhome. Now, subject to the model, above the rear doors, next to the high-level brake light, is the reverse camera lens. This relays an image onto the rear view mirror to aid parking. As we go round the motorhome, we will come to the electric hookup. It can only be inserted one way and gets removed by pushing down on this blue lever. Next comes the true Macombi heating flue. You don't have to remove any covers for the heater to work. If the vents get blocked, it's a good idea to brush or vacuum the debris away, as opposed to blowing the debris further into the appliance. The window above this vent has a sensor on it. It is designed to cut off the heater when the window is open. This is to stop any potential harmful gases re-entering the motorhome. The grey and blue taps are used to drain down the waste and fresh water tanks. There will be a dedicated area on certified sites where you can do this. The 25 litre underslung gas tank is refillable from here. You can get LPG from a number of petrol stations around the UK. Firstly, remove the filler cap by pushing and twisting, similar to the fresh water infill. Attach the gas pump as directed at the filling station. The gas tank will take only 80% of its capacity. This is to allow the gas to vaporise from its liquid form. The toilet cassette is emptied from here. And Dave will now give you a demonstration of how that works.
To empty the toilet cassette, first of all you need the small key supplied to unlock the door. Push the two buttons in together to reveal the toilet cassette. To remove the cassette from the housing, slightly lift up the orange handle and give it a gentle pull out. This is the cassette that holds all your waste, so be careful with it. By extending the handle, you can wheel it to the desired area on site to empty. When you get there, remove the cap, and by depressing the orange button on the top of the unit, you'll be able to empty your contents. Supplied with the van is a small amount of aqua blue chem, which can be put into your cassette, and in she goes.
Finally, the fridge vents. These can be covered when not in use or in extreme conditions. The covers just clip on behind the vent. Next, we have the awning light and the electric step. By pressing the button, the step goes back in. By pressing the top, the step will come out. Now, depending on the model, you'll have an electric step on there. If you do, usually when you've started up the engine, the vehicle will buzz at you and let you know if you've left the step out, and it should retract it in automatically. Now, when taking your awning out, the most important thing to think of first of all is to shut your habitation door. Now Dave will take the awning out for us. Now this is always easier, it's a two-person operation. When one's winding, the other can take the weight on the awning. Now inside here we have two spring-loaded legs, which as soon as we wound it out, Dave will unpeg for us. Now they're spring-loaded, so just by pulling them back, you drop down and there's a clip just at the top. You slide down. Now you need to push the clip up to secure. When they're brand new, these will feel very stiff and they won't really want to go, but this is the way they do need to work. And there we have your awning out. Again, same process to put it back. What we'll now do is Dave will retract the legs, clip them back in and wind it back into place. You can say they are spring loaded and will just clip in. The awning will take its own weight, but it is always better if there are two of you. At this point, only being short, so I will have to release the awning. And there we have the awning operation. In the cab, we're going to give you a brief description of each button or system and what it does. Now, Tom, our cameraman, is going to take my place here, while Dave shows you all the controls, and I'll give you a brief description of what it does. Right. Let's start with Traction Plus, as this is a system which seems to confuse a lot of people. Traction Plus is a traction control system that helps you tackle low grip surfaces. In the presence of ESC and under conditions of low or zero grip from any drive wheel, the control unit detects slip and brakes, transmitting the torque on the wheel with greater grip on the ground. In this way, the motorhome's performance is more stable, ensuring the best stability and handling. It is activated only when necessary using this button on the dashboard, and it only functions at speeds of up to 18 miles an hour. Next is hill descent. On the steepest downhill slopes, in the presence of Traction Plus, it maintains the desired speed without the need to operate the brake. So you can focus on steering without distractions. It is activated by this dedicated button on the dashboard. This button activates your heated wing mirrors and this one your central locking. Now, in a van conversion, this should lock or unlock your cab doors, habitation door and rear doors. However, if you have a coach build, it will most likely only lock or unlock the cab doors. And of course, not forgetting the hazard warning lights. Above this panel is the cab heating system, where we have the heater and fan speed, the cab air conditioning and the air circulation area and fresh or recirculated air switch. Above this we have the media centre, and above this a tablet or phone holder, which is easily operated like so. Now, to the left of the switch panels we have a 12 volt plug socket and a USB charging point. And to the left of this, the cool box, which runs in connection with your cab air conditioning. Also, on the 2018 model, there is a USB port in here, which is part of the media centre. Below this is the passenger airbag, and below again we have the glove box. Now, with the controls around the steering wheel, we have your headlights and indicators, and your cruise control with the speed limiter. Cruise control allows you to set the cruising speed and keep it constant. The speed limiter incorporated into the cruise control on the 130, 150 and 180 multi-jet versions allows you to set the maximum speed that your vehicle can reach, increasing its safety. With the accelerator pedal fully depressed, the driver can exceed the limit set for specific overtaking manoeuvres. On the steering wheel we have your horn and controls for your radio and telephone. To the opposite side of the driver we have the wash wipes with the trip computer operated from the end of the stem. Next to this is the rear fog lights and the headlamp adjust. Now, the mode button will take you through a menu of different adjustments or preferences you can make. The first option is menu. Now, by depressing the headlamp adjust buttons up or down, we can go through the menu. The first option gives us speed beep. Now, this can be set to go off if you exceed a prefixed speed. Next is trip B data, which is another option. After that, we have set time, then set date. Now, auto close gives you an option of travelling, then on or off. When activated on, this function locks automatically the doors when the car exceeds speeds 20 kilometers an hour. Next, we have units, where you can change your distances from miles to kilometers. Then we have consumption, which will display your current fuel consumption on the main display. Then temperature, which can be changed from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Next, we have language, which allows you to change the display to different languages. After that, we have buzzer volume, which can be increased or lowered, as you can hear as we go through these menus. Next is service, which will tell you when you are due for service or an oil service. Now, this is set by Fiat and may not be the same as your motorhome manufacturer, who may have a different service schedule, so remember to check with your supplying dealer. Last, we have passenger airbag, which can be switched on or off from here. Then we go to exit menu. Now, on the door we have wing mirror controls, electric front windows and central locking. The last thing we need to show you in the cab is the operation of the cab blinds. Now, be very careful when operating these, as they are easily broken if used incorrectly. On the side windows, try to keep the blind as straight as possible, and it will log magnetically when fully extended. The same applies to the windscreen blind, but these two need to be touching to form a seal.
When entering the motorhome, the first thing we want to do is turn on the 12-volt panel, and we do this by pushing the top button on the left. As we can see, a blue LED is illuminated, and it's also illuminated on the button to the right of it. This is saying that we have selected the leisure battery. If for some reason we'd like to choose the vehicle battery, you touch the button at the end there, and that is there displaying the condition of the vehicle battery, but we are now using it. So realistically we want to remain on the leisure battery, and again it's telling us there the condition of our battery. The two buttons below is for your water pump and also for your water level. This is just your fresh water level. In this instance we have nothing in there, so it's flashing red. Your wastewater, when full, a little LED will illuminate up the top there. In a nutshell, that's the 12-volt panel explained. So to turn it on and off is the top left. The light switch is to the left of the unit. That one operates the lights in the rear of the vehicle. This one here, the front. That one there is your awning light, and this one is the lights by Thomas. The vehicle is a 12-volt system, and it does use 12-volt fuses, and there's a selection of fuses just behind the driver's seat there where Tom sat, but also on the RCD at the back of the vehicle. RCD stands for residual current device, and this is your trip switches for when you're on hookup. On this particular motorhome, the RCD is positioned below the bench seat in the rear. Here you will find the relevant 12-volt fuses for the habitation area, along with your MCBs for your 230. The orange light here, that's for your charger, so when you're plugged in, it's not a bad idea just to make sure that's illuminated. If not, it may just need switching on. This is your charging unit as well as where the fuses are stored. Next we're going to have a look to see how we heat your van and the hot water. This is supplied by Truma, and their control panel is found above the door there. You must have your 12-volt panel turned on to power up the panel itself, and to turn the panel on, the rotary switch in the middle there, we push in. The first page that shows there is a menu, an icon menu, and they flash, and to change from icon to icon we just twist the rotary button accordingly to find the desired icon. So let's go through the icons one by one and see what they do. The icon that is currently flashing, that's a motorhome with a thermostat in it, and that is controlling your heating. So to select the heating, we're going to push in the rotary button. We're going to twist the rotary button to our desired temperature, in this case 18 degrees, and we're going to push in the button again to action it. And we've got an action bar on the top here, and as we can see, a little flame there which donates the heating. Two lightning bolts telling me that the element we're using is electric, and a fan that's running around there telling the strength of the blown air coming through the vehicle. An 18 is displayed occasionally in this display here, and it's flashing, and that's just telling me it's getting up to temperature. When we're finished with the heating, push a button in again, twist until it says off, and push a button in there to action it. And again you can see our action bar now has got nothing on there. So let's move to the next icon. We twist the rotary button and we select again by pushing it in. And it's a thermostat in water, so this is our hot water. As you can currently see, it's turned off, so by twisting the rotary button we can go to eco mode, a hot mode, or boost. Selecting boost heats up your hot water a lot quicker. The van is set up to concentrate on heating your van before the water, so if you do want the water first, boost is the option you want to select. If you do make an error at any stage by pressing the back key here, it's always going to get us back to this main menu. So let's have a look at the next icon. The icon with a cylinder there and two lightning bolts. this is the element we're going to use to heat the van or heat your hot water. So again, pushing in the rotary button, and at the moment you can see option EL2 is displayed. That's high power electricity. By turning through the options, we can have a mixture of gas and electric, or if you're wild camping or on a site with no electric, solely gas. And to select it again, we press the button in. Now on those hot summer evenings when you don't want heating and you'd like your van to cool down, this last icon here, this is the one you want to go to. By selecting it, by pushing it in, turning it out to vent and selecting that, this is going to recirculate cool air throughout your van, and you can select the speeds you wish to do it from 1 up to 10. Actioning it will blow air through the van, cooling you down on those balmy summer afternoons. As we go down the panel here, we have a little plug illuminated there. This is telling me that I'm hooked up, I've got electric coming into the motorhome. So in a site instance, I'll be better off using these appliances on the electric, saving on my gas. Going on to the icons on the bottom of the screen, the first one we come through there is a spanner. So by selecting that, it's going to give us a sub menu. Offset, that allows the calibration of your thermostat to the van. Something that you'd probably do when you first have the motorhome, but it's done on the PDI. The temperature, by selecting temperature, this toggles between centigrade or Fahrenheit. Pressing the back key is going to get us back to the original menu. The bright button dictates the brightness of the screen, so if you don't like that bright light during the afternoon, you can tone it down a little bit. 12 hour and 24 hour allows you to toggle between your clock, 12 hour or 24 clock. Language, if you fancy learning a different language, you can try it in French, Italian, Dutch, or better still English. The index, this is more for the workshop. By pressing the index, it tells me a list of any faults that we may have had in the motorhome. If you do have a fault, and I'll try and replicate one in a minute, a warning triangle will come up there, and we'll try and replicate that so we can show you what it looked like. Reset, so when you do have a fault, you can reset your appliance, and again we just press it and it goes back to the factory reset. And that is that menu in a nutshell. So the middle one at the bottom, that's a clock, and that's how you set your time. At the moment it's selected at 6:18 on a 24-hour clock, and you can change it by turning the toggle down and selecting when you're happy with the correct time. Once that's selected, it'll go back to the main menu. The final one there, which is how you program it. This appliance here is enable you to program. So if you're going out and you want your heating to come on half an hour before you come back, you can program it. By selecting the icon again, you select a start time, 4:10 in this instance, an end time, 7:10, and now it's going to ask me what I want to use, what I want to come on. So I don't want my heating. By pushing the rotary button in again, it skips over, and now you can see the water thermostat icon come on. So let's have some hot water, turn it on, happy days, select it, away we go. And on the action screen then, I've got a little timer come up there. That means that I've now set the timer, and I'm going to have hot water nice and ready for me for when I come back. In a nutshell, that's a Truma display explained. I'm going to try and get that fault warning by turning off the 12 volts here. And in about 30 seconds, I don't know if you can pick that up, Tom. There's a little triangle illuminated down there. There you go. That's a little warning. It's telling me that there's an error. I turn the 12 volt back on. There we go. The Truma control panel explained. For electric cooking, we have a microwave here. But remember, that will only work when you're hooked up on a 230 mains electric. It also needs to be plugged in, just in there. At the rear of the motorhome, the solar panel, control panel is there, with the operation switch there, so you can charge your vehicle battery or your electric battery accordingly. And the little white box there, that's your amplifier for your TV aerial. The 12 volt lights in the rear of the motorhome have their own individual switches. The Auto Trail and Tribute van conversions have a 25 litre underslung gas tank. This has got an isolating switch underneath, but it also has the isolation valves underneath the oven here. This means if you do have a gas leak, you can isolate an appliance but also go on Eurotunnel. The oven and grill combination runs off the gas, so you do need your gas turned on for it to operate, but you also need the 12 volt turned on for the igniter to work. The 3 gas hobs also need the 12 volt turned on for the igniter to work. Also, this glass lid needs to be fully retracted for it to work. Remember, this gets very hot, so make sure it's nice and cool before you put the lid down, because it will break. When using the water system for the first time, there's a few factors to consider. Make sure the fresh water valve is closed before filling your motorhome with water. This is the blue valve outside the motorhome. After filling your fresh water tank with water, make sure the hot water tank drain valve is closed. This valve will be found inside your motorhome near the combi boiler. It's a yellow toggle lever on this demonstration V-line. Pushing the lever in a horizontal position closes it off. Before we purge the water through the system, first of all make sure all the taps are closed off. It's now turn to run the water. Turn on the 12 volt panel above the door and select the water pump button, the bottom left. Gradually open the kitchen tap up in the hot position. Don't be surprised if the water coughs and splutters a little bit. This is to be expected as it's expelling the air through the pipework. Once the water's running freely, close off the tap and repeat the process in the bathroom. When you're happy that the hot water's running through consistently, repeat the process again with the cold water. It's not a bad idea at this time to check your taps for leaks.
Right, now on this particular model, we have a cupboard here for all your toiletries. Drop down sink. And your cassette toilet. Now, with your cassette toilet, the top will swivel to give you more space if you need it within the compartment. What's important to remember with the toilet, when the top is closed, it's not ready for use. There is a bar under here which you slide to open the cassette and then push back to close it. Now, when you are trying to get your cassette out, it will need to be closed off, otherwise the cassette won't actually come out. With the toilet, again we have the electronic flush here. When you press that button, it will flush and the fan will come on. Now, the other thing to remember is there'll be a green light here when it's empty. You will get a red light when it's full. The only other thing to show you in the shower compartment is the actual shower itself. Here we have a mixer tap for hot or cold water, and you will need to pull the shower cubicle round so you don't get the water on the door.
The V-Line and Tribute range use the same Dometic 3-way fridge freezer. Let's take a closer look at it. This fridge freezer has 95 litres capacity and it's quite easy to use. To turn her on, we push a button on the left here and the display will turn blue. Let's have a look at these 3 icons here. The illuminated icon there, that's mains hookup. It lets us know what element we're using, and in this instance, when we're on a site and we're hooked up, we would select this. If you wanted to use a gas because we're wild camping, we select the second button in there and we press it twice, once to deselect the hookup and once to select the gas. We may just be able to hear it clicking as it tries to ignite. When we're travelling from point A to point B with the engine running, we can use this fridge by selecting this button here. This does use a vehicle battery and does need to be running for it to work. As we can see here, it's faulting. That's because the engine's not running. Let's just knock that off. So we go to this icon here. It's a little thermostat and this controls the temperature of your fridge, and by pushing it in you can see the bar changing there, and that's how you can change the temperature of your fridge. As we saw by selecting the vehicle battery earlier, we have a warning light here, and this is if your fridge or freezer's failed. It could be that you've run out of gas maybe, or you're not on hookup, or in this instance the vehicle's not running. Let's take a look inside the fridge. To open the door you have to push down these button at the top there, and we have a freezer box and a salad drawer at the bottom. In the winter months, by pushing this little lever out there, when you close the fridge it leaves a nice air gap. There we have the Dometic fridge freezer.
Right, now we're going to have a look at the skylights, the blinds and the fly screens. On this particular vehicle you have two skylights, one in the centre, one at the rear. Now before we start, it's very important to make sure these are closed when you're travelling. You literally pop in the button and slide it up. You have got two locks here, so you can have more or less air coming into the vehicle depending on what you require. Also, we have your fly screen that locks across there, or your blind when you go to bed of an evening. Now if we look in the back, this skylight works exactly the same, again with your fly screen and your blind. When it comes to your windows, again you have your fly screen there, and you can push up your blind depending on how much light you want coming into the vehicle. Now one thing that is very important on a van conversion is this window. If you've opened this window, you must remember when you're sliding your habitation door that it's shut, otherwise you will end up with a nasty repair bill. Again, on this side we have the same, we have the blinds at the bottom here, the fly screens just there, which is also nice that we do have them on the rear door, and again they can be adjusted to depend how much light you want coming into the vehicle or how much privacy you want. Now most of the beds on the V-Line and the Tribute range work from the bench seats. They're very simple to make up. Now depending on the length of your vehicle you can use them as two singles or as a transverse double. This particular vehicle isn't long enough to use as two single beds, but I can show you how it would work if you were to. Literally pull this up slightly, pull out the cushion, drop the cushion down at the back. Same on this side, you'd have your single beds. Now to use it as a transverse, you simply slide both into the centre, and there we have your transverse bed. Now again, very simple to put up, very simple to take down. Now with the new Tributes and Auto Trails, with them having the underslung gas tank, it means that your tank isn't actually located, your bottles aren't located underneath this bench seat. So what it now gives you is excellent storage underneath the bench seat.
It's important that the water system is drained off during the winter months to avoid freezing when the motorhome is not in use or after the last trip of the season. Failure to do this could result in frost damage to the water system and its components. First of all, open the drain valve on the fresh water tank and ensure this is fully empty. Then open the drain valve on the waste tank, also making sure this is empty. But remember to use a suitable container, or better still, at a dedicated area on a certified campsite just before you leave. With the water pump turned off, open all the taps inside the motorhome and leave them in the open position. Next, open the drain valve inside the vehicle and empty the water heater and pipework. The yellow toggle switch needs to be in the vertical position to drain down the water heater. Allow the vehicle to drain this way for 5 minutes. Then run the pump to ensure that it's free of water. To avoid burning out the water pump, remember to turn it off afterwards. While the motorhome is at rest, it's not a bad idea to remove the toilet and clean the cassette and blade. Gently oil the rubber seal using an approved seal lubricant spray. So there you have it, one drain down motorhome ready for next season's adventures.
Thank you for watching our handover video.
We hope you have found it informative and hopefully it has answered any questions you have with the Auto Trail and Tribute van conversions.
If you have any further questions that we haven't covered in this video, please don't hesitate to contact us via our website, www.edwardsmotorhomes.co.uk.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.